how much weed did you have? He had 2.5 ounces worth of weed. And I'm like, yes, I did. And he says, why did you have it all in separate baggies? And I said, I just wanted to know how much I was smoking. And he says, so you weren't trying to sell it? And I says, no, I wasn't trying to sell it, Your Honor. And so he's not very happy with me at all. And he's just telling me, well, you really need to get your life straightened out, and you really need to get everything in order. You're going to go back on 1 year probation, and if I see you in this courtroom again, you're going to spend longer than 45 days in jail. And I said, okay, thank you. So that's what they sentenced me to, is for another year of probation. So this is my third offense for possession of marijuana right here. And I just turned 18 years old. And so they put me back on probation, and I went home and thought about what I've been getting involved into. And I just decided, I wasn't going to try to, smoke weed and clean my system out every week. I was really going to try to go a year without smoking weed and not getting in trouble at all. And so that's what I did. So I came up with a plan to do all this, to get it all done. I joined a gym there in Wyoming called the YMCA, and I decided to do the best I could without smoking weed for the next year, so I can make it through a full year of probation. And so that's what I did, So like the first 2 months, I didn't talk to nobody. I didn't talk to none of my friends, nothing. I think some of them, they might have known that I was in trouble for marijuana, but I didn't talk to any of them. I just, just focused on going to the gym, working out, and doing good on probation. And during the same time, I was still looking for a job because that old job laid me off. And so I ended up getting a job at Kmart, stocking shelves. And so, and it was for night shift. So I'd go into work like at, I think it was 10:30 at night till 6 in the morning, something like that. And I started stocking shelves. Well, like I said before, I was real skinny back then. I was only 130 pounds at 5'11". And so I really just focused on staying away from all the drugs and, just going to work and pretty much going to the gym. And so I started going to the gym, and I started eating like crazy. Like I would cook like hamburger helper meal, and that could probably feed like 2 or 3 people. I would eat the whole thing for myself, and probably like 4 to 5 pieces of toast with it, 2 big tall glasses of milk with it. And that was just one meal, and I just started eating like crazy and working out like crazy also. When I was going to the gym, I'd go to the gym like 2.5 to 3 hours to the gym. The next day I wouldn't go to the gym, I'd go every other day. But the days that I didn't go to the gym, I would do 350 push-ups on a decline, so my feet were up on a high step, and my face was down low towards the ground. I'd make them that much harder for myself, and I would do stuff like that. Working out really become something very important to me back then, because I had to do something with my time. I knew if I didn't pick up some kind of activity or start picking up some kind of hobby, then I might fall back into that drug scene, into that drug life. And so that's what I started doing. I started working out a lot. And so during this time, like within a 5-month period, I went from like 130 pounds all the way up to 185. And this ain't all muscle, I'm sure there was some fat in there too. But my friend Eddie came over to visit me one time, and he hadn't seen me like probably 3 or 4 months. And he came over to visit me, and I had my t-shirt off, and I was washing some dishes or something. And he's looking at me, he's like, where did you get that chest from? He's like, you got a big old chest. So he used to make fun of me because I didn't have a chest. I was like real skinny. I had like a bird chest, stuff like that. And he's like, oh man, I can't believe it. And you got a belly too. He's making fun of me and stuff. So, that was my main point, was to gain some weight, and start getting a little bit of muscle on me. And I started getting a good amount of muscle on me, to the point where my brother and a couple of my friends were starting to accuse me at the time of doing steroids. My brother says, "Are you sure you're not on steroids?" And I says, "No, dude, I'm not on steroids. Like, I'm just taking supplements like creatine and stuff like that, but that's not really a steroid. Just over-the-counter stuff from GNC, but not no steroid stuff." But I think they were shocked, and they thought that because my rapid gain in weight and muscle, just totally transformed me, my body and my look, into a different person. And so, that I had that good thing going for me, and I was stocking the shelves at Kmart, stuff like that. And the next thing you know, I got my brother a job at Kmart with me stocking shelves, because he really needed a job too, so he got a job there too. And then I got another one of my friends, Michael, a job there too, stocking shelves at Kmart. And so we're all working together, just doing our thing. And during this time, I had crooked teeth. And I always wanted to have straight teeth when I was young, but, we just couldn't really afford it. We couldn't afford the extra bills. Like, my mom didn't make that much money. Money was tight, I know she struggled raising us because she was a single parent. She got a little bit of supplementation with child support. But I never asked how much it was or whatever. I just figured, well, it'll help her out, because for me, she didn't start getting it until later on in my life, maybe around my mid-teens or something. I don't even really know all the details, and I didn't know how much it was. It's just to the point we couldn't afford the braces for me. And so when I was working that job at Kmart, I still really wanted to get braces. So we went and talked to an orthodontist, and I ended up getting braces, but I ended up paying for it. They said on monthly payment plans, and I ended up paying for my braces. And so that was a good thing, that helped with my image, and, helped bring me up, lift me up, my confidence and everything. So during this time working at Kmart is, I think it was right around, probably about a year after 9/11 happened, I was working at Kmart. And like I say, I didn't do no drugs or nothing like that, just working out, stay working, stuff like that. But when me and Michael started hanging out, we started drinking a little bit of beer here and there. And I didn't think that was all that big of a deal, because at least I wasn't messing around with the real hardcore drugs anymore. And so me and Michael started hanging out and drinking beers, on the weekends. And we would drink, 12-pack a piece a night, kind of deal. But that's the extent of it. I wasn't going to no big time parties or anything, just hanging out with him, drinking some beer, and maybe a couple of my other buddies, Eddie, Curtis, a couple of them. We just drink beers together. And so during this time, I went over to Michael's one day, and he had a girlfriend and everything, and his sister was there. Her name was Jackie. And I thought she was a pretty cute girl, and I really liked her. I thought she was pretty good looking. So I ended up talking to her. Next thing you know, me and her ended up start dating. So me and Jackie started dating, and we get into a relationship and everything like that, and going on with the motions. So she started spending a lot of time with me. I started spending a lot of time with her, hanging out, and I'm still hanging out with my friends here and there, but it's nothing to do with marijuana and drugs or nothing like that, It's just hanging out, having a good time, maybe eating. I was still going to the gym a lot, and once in a while just have a few beers, not getting too crazy though. So during this time, I'm still living with my mom. I'm with my mom, and just going on probation and stuff like that. Well, about a month or so goes by, and Jackie ends up getting in a fight with her dad, and her dad ends up kicking her out of the house, and she doesn't have nowhere to go. And so my mom really likes Jackie, and my mom told her, well, you could stay here with us. And at the time I was thinking, why is my mom saying this? Shouldn't it be my decision, kind of deal? because she's kind of forcing her in. But you know, I liked Jackie and everything back then, and so I was like, all right, you know, yeah, sounds like a good deal. So Jackie ended up moving in with me, and we're staying at my mom's house. And Jackie ends up getting a job too and stuff, so everything is going good and everything. And so I stayed working at Kmart for probably about 8 or 9 months, and they weren't paying much, like probably $7 an hour. But I worked there because, you know, it gave me a chance to focus on probation, focus on doing right in my life, and also, you know, all I really did was just go hit the weights all the time. I was real crazy into hitting the weights, hitting the gym. And so that job really helped me focus on that aspect of my life. And so she moves in, and you know, after Kmart for about 8 months, you know, I end up quitting and getting a job with a painting company and start doing like industrial painting. We painted the Lowe's distribution center there in Wyoming, in Cheyenne. And you know, they pay me a lot better. I think they were paying me like $10 an hour or something like that, $11 an hour. And they were paying me good. And my girlfriend got a job. I think she got a job at JCPenney's or something like that. And we're doing good, you know. We start saving up some money and everything like that. And then my mom, you know, she asked for us to help her with money, and so we start helping her with money, you know. She says $300 a month, and I said, well, that's not bad. So we helped her with that, and then we started, you know, putting food in the fridge and stuff like that. During this time, my Uncle Talleray's still in prison, and my uncle's just getting out of prison, my Uncle Daniel. So my Uncle Daniel went in prison. He was probably 5'6", 5'7", maybe 130 pounds. You know, he wasn't that big of a guy, but he was always pretty cut. He had a little bit of muscle on him, stuff like that. But he drank a lot of alcohol and just a lot of stuff, so he wasn't really focused on his diet for the most part. And so he got out of prison during this time. And we went to go pick him up at prison, and they transferred him to a different prison to, I think it was called Riverton or something. They call it the farm. And they transfer these prisoners up there and work them, you know, work them like a bunch of workhorses. And when we went to go pick him up, I almost didn't recognize him because he had so much muscle on him. It was insane. Like, when I looked at him, I was just like in awe. Like, I was looking at all of his muscle and stuff like that, and I was just like, what the hell? What the hell is going on? How did this dude get so big and muscular? You know, he actually looked like a professional bodybuilder. He had so much muscle on him. And so we picked him up, brought him back to the house, drove him back to my mom's house, and he started staying with us. So it was me, my girlfriend, my uncle, my mom, and then one of her friends moved in, and Calvin was there too, I think. And so he's just staying with us, and you know, like the first few days, I didn't really say much to my uncle just because he had so much muscle on him. I was just like, really just shocked, just by like all the muscle he had on him. So he came out, and he was in real good shape, and even my friends saw him, and were like, dang, this dude's big, he's bowed up, you know. And so my Uncle Daniel, he starts helping out my grandfather, and helping out my grandfather with jobs and stuff like that. And this muscle size that he had started deteriorating, you know, kind of quickly. And I think it was because he didn't stay up with the same routine or eating or whatever, you know, to help maintain that size of body. And so during this time, my grandfather ends up getting cancer in his throat. He went in and got checked, and they said he had like a cancer right here on the side of his throat. And he went in to talk to the doctors about it and stuff like that, and they really told my grandfather, they says, you really need to get this cancer removed from your throat, because eventually the spot it's in, like right here, and it's going to start pushing on your airway, and it's going to block off your airway. But if we take it out, you know, you're going to lose your voice. So what do you want to do? Well, my grandfather talked about it, and he didn't want to lose his voice. That wasn't the type of person he was. He was always a man of power, a man of authority, you know, and he was always probably right around 200 pounds, about 6 foot tall, you know, and he was in good shape. And you know, he was like an average type of dude, or a little bit bigger than average, but you didn't want to mess with him. Like, even at his old age, he had a lot of power in him, you know, and he had a lot of strength in him. And you know, we would go to work with him, and we thought we were strong, me and my brother, but he would outwork us like we were nothing, you know, on the job. But that's just that work ethic that he had in him. You know, he was always out there doing stuff on his own and getting stuff done. He was actually a man to be respected and feared, my grandfather. And so he thought about this cancer stuff for a while, and he just says, I don't want to take it out because I don't want to lose my voice. I don't want to be talking through a damn machine. And we kind of understood his point on that, you know, and we kind of like weighed things out. And so he started having a lot of trouble breathing at this time. And eventually he had to go in and get a trach cut into his throat. That's where they put a tube in your throat right there. Because if they wouldn't have, that cancer just totally blocked off his airway. So he had to get a trach put in. So he got a trach put in, and he's just tried to go, you know, they put him on medicine and try to take care of him the best that they could. And but I noticed he started losing a lot of weight. He went down in weight pretty quick. He ended up going all the way down to like 130, 120 pounds and started looking real bad, you know. And it's sad seeing my grandfather go through this transformation in his life, because, you know, no one really wants this for their loved ones, and especially someone that you respect and love so much. And so he's fighting with cancer, everything. My Uncle Daniel, he starts losing weight too, going back to his old ways. And there wasn't really much my Uncle Daniel could do, because he got a felony when he was in prison. So he tried to get jobs here and there, and I think he ended up finally getting a job for a construction company and working there. And he was doing all right, you know, he was doing the best that he could. And so me and my girlfriend are staying with my mom during this time, and you know, my brother would come over once in a while. We would drink, we'd go party at the clubs or whatever. And during this time down in Colorado, they had 18 and up night at the bars. So like 18-year-olds could get into the bars, and they'd put a wristband on them or a mark on their hand, so that they could get in the bars and they could dance and everything, but they couldn't get any alcohol in the bars. So even though I was on probation, I was still going down to these bars, and I probably shouldn't have been there, but I was still down there. And we would have my brother sneak us drinks, or on the way up, me and my friends would drink alcohol on the way up and get a good buzz on, you know. But I wasn't smoking any weed or nothing, just to go to the clubs and have a good time. And as time went on, you know, I'm painting houses, everything's going good. And this one night, you know, my mom increased our rent from only $300 a month to when my girlfriend Jackie got a job, she increased it to $300 a piece. So I was paying $300, Jackie was paying $300, and we was also helping with food in the house. Well, this is going on for a little while, and then one day I ended up paying my mom, and she had a bad gambling addiction. We paid her the $600, and we were still stocking up the food and everything. You know, a lot of our money was going towards rent and food and stuff like that, and there wasn't much money for us to save. And I think it was 2 or 3 days after we paid her, she comes home and she says, I'm going to need some more money.